Hi everybody, I'm Dahlia. Welcome to my channel. I haven't actually posted like a video in a long time except for the one that I posted yesterday, which was the Harry Potter book blindfold drawing challenge thing for Harry Xmas to use. So if you want to check that out, feel free to do so because I think it's a lot of fun. Um, but yeah, so here I am filming from my dorm room at college, and guess what? It's the end of my it's the end of my first fall semester of my second year. Oh no, wait, I'm not saying this right. It's the end of the fall semester of my second year. That's what I've been meaning to say. And I have accumulated a lot of new books that I got this semester, most of which are pretty much for school. And just to let you know, I am majoring in English with an emphasis in creative writing, and so I do get to read a lot of cool books for my major. And of course, like, I want to buy them so I can keep them and just like, have them because, us booktubers, we like to collect books. And so, yeah, most of these are not really like the typical kinds of textbooks that you would expect to like have for like classes. They're mostly like novels and anthologies and just a bunch of cool stuff that I've read this semester. So without further ado, I am going to show you the books that I got for this semester. So one of the classes that I took this semester was called The Craft of the Young Adult Novel, and this is the class that I had the most books for because we read 12 books or something like that in this class. And they're all like young adult novels with like one graphic novel, and so it's pretty cool. And the first book that I have to show you is Nancy Drew Diaries, Curse of the Arctic Star. And I guess this is like, I've never read the original classic Nancy Drews, which we did read one for this class, and then we read one of like the newer ones, and it was okay. I mean, it was fun to read, but I don't think I would have like picked it up even when I was younger because this wasn't like my type of thing that I was into. I was into more like fantasy and stuff more than like detective. The next book is Jean and Johnny by Beverly Cleary, and I mean Clary, did I say that right? Anyways, this was like a kind of like a romance novel for like young teens and stuff, and I think it takes place in like, I don't know, the 60s or something. I'm really bad with my decades. If you know, then please correct me. But yeah, it was like a fun read, but again, I don't think I would have picked this up if I was younger. I mean, I've only had to read it because of class, so there's that. The next book that I got for that class was Judy Blume Forever, and it's also a romance novel, and in this one it's actually like focused on like the topic of sex, and like, it was like considered like a scandalous novel back when it came out, and so yeah, it was very interesting to read and I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it more than Jean and Johnny because it was like more realistic portrayal of like how romance goes, and that one seemed just like too young for me, so I didn't really connect well with it at all. Even this one, like, I don't know, I didn't love these, but maybe it's just because like I'm not really a romantic type of person, or what do they call it, like a hopeless romantic. Like, I don't really read much in the romance genre. This next book is Fat Kid Rules the World by K.L. Going, and yeah, I mean, I feel like the title pretty much hints at what this book is about, and he basically becomes this drummer and joins a band even though he has like very little drumming experience, and the main character is also like considered overweight and stuff, but it's like really fun to read, and I don't know, like very uplifting story, and so I really enjoyed it. The next book I think is a very well-known novel, and it's The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. Also, I apologize if the books appear like reversed on the screen, like you can't read the titles or anything. I think that's just like the app that I'm having to use to record, because like I said in my last video, my iPhone won't sync to my computer anymore, and so like I can't like record normal videos from my phone, and so the words might be flipped. But anyways, yeah, The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton, and it was kind of like a gritty slash problem novel, and I really, really enjoyed this one actually. I think I gave it like 5 stars on Goodreads, and it's about like this group of boys, and they're all greasers, and I think it's just so cool, and it's like, I don't know, something happens very early on in the story where the main character and a friend of his have to go on the run, and I don't know, I just really enjoyed this story. So yeah, sorry for my very bad synopsis stuff, because I'm just trying to go through these books really fast because I still have a lot to go through. Anyways, the next one is Annie on My Mind by Nancy Garden, and this one was another romance novel, but between two girls, and this was a book that was considered like scandalous at like the time, like kind of like a groundbreaking novel, and I just really, really enjoyed this one. I thought Annie and what was the other girl's name? Lisa or something? They were just so cute, and I absolutely adored this novel. So I do recommend it if, I don't know, you want to read something else that's LGBTQIA+, you know? It's fun. Then we read Everything Leads to You by Nina LaCour. And this is like about a girl who, I guess like her brother leaves her his like apartment over the summer or something, and basically he tells her to do something special with it, and so she shoots like a movie in that apartment because she like is this set designer or something, and it was a very good story. Kind of unrealistic, but like I still enjoyed it. I think I gave it like 3 or 4 stars. The next one that I got for this class is A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle, I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, this is like a classic children's story, and it's like a part of like a, what do they call it? The Time Quintet. I actually honestly did not enjoy this story. I don't know. I just didn't really connect well with any of the characters, and yeah. I had to get up and grab one more book that I actually forgot to like put right here next to me, and it was another book that I got for this class that we read after A Wrinkle in Time, or actually like we read books in pairs in that class. So like if you've like been noticing like similarities between like some of the books, you know, we read them in pairs. And so this we read with A Wrinkle in Time, and it was Passenger by Alexandra Bracken, and I know this book had like received a lot of hype on BookTube when it first came out. And yeah, so we read these two together because like, if you can kind of tell, they're both like have to deal with like time travel and like other worldly dimensions, whatever. And I actually really enjoyed this novel. It was kind of slow, but I mean, I think it was building, like it was kind of like setting the platform for like the worlds, because like there's like a lot of mechanics and like the time traveling and all that, and so I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed like the characters too, but I feel like the ending kind of left us hanging a little too much. Like I know like it's part of like the first book of a series, but at the same time, like I feel like some strings should have been like tied. I feel like there should have been like a better ending so that we weren't left like completely off the edge, because it is a really big book, and this took like time to read obviously, and so I don't know, I feel like it just should have been worth it. There's only 2 books that I have left to show you from this particular class. The first is A Girl Named Mr. by Nikki Grimes, and it's a teen pregnancy story told in verse, and so, you know, verse is poetry basically, and it is told along the side of the story of the Virgin Mary, and so I thought that was really cool, and it was a beautiful story, and yeah, I think I gave it like a 3 or 4 stars. I enjoyed it. I didn't like love it, but yeah, if you are into this kind of stuff, I highly recommend it. And then the last book that I have to show you is the graphic novel, and it's The Shadow Hero by Jean Luen Yang and Sonny Liu, I think. I'm sorry if I butchered that. But yeah, it's about this Chinese American teenager, I think, and he basically becomes a superhero. and not in like the traditional sense. Like I feel like a lot of superheroes are like, oh, they got bitten by a radioactive spider or something, but like here it's like this ordinary kid who lives in like Chinatown, and his father runs like this grocery store, and it's like just a really cool novel. And like um you know, his mother's kind of crazy, I thought, but I mean, it was just really fun to read. So if you want something diverse to read, I highly recommend this. It was really enjoyable, and it was actually fast paced too. So yeah. The next three books that I have to show you are for my urban education class, and I actually only read like one of them in like full, and the other two I've only read like bits and pieces of because that was all that was required to read. So yes, I feel like I kind of do regret buying these books for class. Like I feel like that's like a lesson you learned the hard way in college. But at the same time, like my mom recommended me to like actually buy them because like since I am thinking of becoming a teacher, like these books become like very handy to like own, and I might read them eventually. But sorry, they're just right here. The first one is Teaching to Transgress. I mean, Teaching to Transgress. Butchered that. And it's by Bell Hooks. Yeah, I feel like I don't know what to say about these books because like honestly I haven't like read them in full. But yeah, basically that's all. Second was Hope and Healing in Urban Education by Sean Ginwright, and actually I do remember what I read in this one because it was just so like, I don't know, it just stuck with me. And at least from the parts that I read, it was about Sean Ginwright and basically discussing the ways in which kids who live in urban areas and who go to urban schools have experienced a lot of trauma in their young lives. So discusses like how he feels like they need support, and how like he just discusses his own experiences like working with those kids. And I don't know, this just like stuck with me, and I feel like I do want to read this entire book to like, you know, get the feel of that, because there's a chance that I would work in a community like the ones that he discusses, and I feel like it's important to read this because it is a very real thing. And yeah, so Hope and Healing. And then the third book that I got for this class was For White Folks Who Teach in the Hood, and the Rest of Y'all Too, Reality Pedagogy and Urban Education. And I feel like this, I mean, the title is pretty self-explanatory, but I mean, despite the title, I think my teacher assigned this book to us to read because it has like a lot of good, basically, advice and like topics to like discuss and think about when you're a new teacher coming to teach at an urban ed school. And so it's just like, you know, it like basically reminds you to be mindful of like the culture of these like neighborhoods and these communities and like, you know, things like that. So yeah. So the next four books I got for my Survey of American Literature class, and so the first one is Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl by Harriet Jacobs. And yeah, basically it's about Harriet Jacobs and her experiences as like a slave woman, and then like her escape from slavery. And it was like a very touching story, and I highly recommend if you want to read like a slave narrative, because I know Frederick Douglass's is probably one of the most famous in the world, but this one's also very good, and especially because it focuses on what it was like being a slave as a woman. So yeah. The next one is Charlotte Temple by Susanna Rosen, and this is like a sentimental novel that takes place in like the 18th century, I believe. And it's kind of like a really sad story. Basically, this young girl named Charlotte falls in love and gets courted by this one guy. She like runs away from home and like elopes with him, and then like just pays the price of that. And yeah, I don't know, it's a really sad story, but I mean, it's really short. It's actually not this long. The story itself is only like 90 pages, but the rest of this book is literally like essays and stuff on Charlotte Temple. So I'm pretty sure like the book itself is like just this much. And so yeah. Then the next two are basically just anthologies for my literature class. This is what we mostly read out of. And yeah, I mean, I actually absolutely love to have these because it's just like collections of literature by American writers. And yeah, the next books that I'm going to show you are actually books that I got for free here at college because there's this professor who is retiring this year, and she basically opened up her office for students to come in and browse through her like book collections and basically just take some home with them, which I thought was really nice of her. Um, so I got some that interested me, and so the first is like actually this box set called The Woman Warrior and Chinaman. Those are the books that are in here, and I think they're kind of autobiographical, and it's by Maxine Hong Kingston, and I'm just like really interested to read these. So yeah. The next is Jacob's Room by Virginia Woolf. This is a classic, and I don't know what it's about. I wish I could tell you, but it interested me because I've heard that Virginia Woolf is a really good writer, and so I wanted to read something by her. And then The Great Gatsby, which I was really excited to find in her office because I remember reading this in my junior year in high school and I absolutely loved it, and I've always wanted my own copy ever since. And like, they're always so expensive in Barnes and Nobles and stuff, like $15 for like a whimsy, like little flimsy little paperback, and so got this now for free. That's amazing. Then I got Hamlet by Shakespeare. Shakespeare, cool. Then I got a lot of like poetry books, and I don't like know all of these. I've never heard of like most of these, but I wanted to read like more books of poems, and so I just grabbed the ones that looked the most interesting to me. So I have Intermission by Trace Morris, Small Salvations by Patricia Dansfrey. Oh, I think I butchered that. But this cover is actually really cool, and like the feel of it feels like, I don't know, a little grainy, but I like it. Then The Sunset Maker by Donald Justice, and this is poems, stories, and a memoir. So some of these have like also short stories and probably some essays, but like most of it is like poetry. And then Selected Poem by William Carlos Williams, and this interested me because he was the one who wrote the introduction to Allen Ginsberg's Howl and other poems, which I absolutely love, so I wanted to read some work by him and see if I liked him as much as I like Allen Ginsberg. Then I have Heart's Needles Poems by W.D. Snodgrass, and I feel like that's a very interesting name, but we'll go with it. So yeah, those were all the books that I got this semester for college. Well, most of them were for college. And yeah, I've enjoyed like I think 80% of them, and so I'm glad that I have them. And yeah, so hopefully I can start uploading more videos now, and especially since like I'm using an app on my phone to like upload videos, it's just easier to record and not have to like, you know, import and do all that crazy computer stuff and all that process. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry if it was long. I didn't mean for it to be so long. It's just that, you know, books taking over my life like always. But yeah, hope you have a good day, and I'll see you next time with another video. Bye!